War is a racket is not the slogan of a dreamy pacifist clutching a daisy. It is the verdict of a man who had seen the machinery from the inside and found it lubricated with profit. The phrase comes from Smedley Butler, one of the most decorated Marines in American history. In his 1935 pamphlet, War is a Racket, he delivers a rather unflinching thesis that modern warfare, particularly as waged by industrial states, often serves the financial interests of a small elite, while the costs are paid in blood by the many. Butler's argument is not subtle. He claims that during conflicts like World War I, corporations, bankers, and arms manufacturers reaped staggering profits, while ordinary soldiers, the boys, as he puts it, were sent to die. He itemizes industries, steel, munitions, shipping, even shoe manufacturers, all enjoying wartime windfalls. Meanwhile, the public was sold lofty rhetoric about honor, democracy, and national destiny. Now, one needn't swallow every ounce of Butler's indignation whole to recognize the force of it. He is, in essence, making a structural critique that war creates incentives for profiteering, and those incentives can distort political decision-making. This is not conspiracy theory. It is political economy with a uniform on. Of course, the rejoinder, often delivered with a certain chest-thumping impatience, is that some wars are necessary. One might point quite rightly to World War II as a conflict that was not merely justified, but unavoidable, if one wished to prevent the triumph of regimes that made a fetish of barbarism. Butler himself, it should be noted, was not arguing that all wars are avoidable, but that many are sold under false pretenses and driven by interests that dare not speak their name. The phrase racket is doing heavy lifting here. It implies a con, something orchestrated by insiders for gain, dressed up as necessity. And that is the enduring sting of Butler's claim. It forces one to ask, every time the drums begin to beat, who benefits, who pays, and are the two groups even remotely the same? In a more cynical register, Butler's warning remains relevant precisely because it is uncomfortable. Nations do not like to think of themselves as marks in a grand swindle. They prefer the language of glory. But history, when not being edited for school assemblies, has a habit of showing that glory and profit are often uncomfortably intertwined. So war as a racket endures not as a universal law, but as a necessary suspicion, a kind of moral irritant that prevents us from swallowing patriotic narratives whole without asking who exactly is cashing the check.